Hello everyone, Tom from Australia again. I'm just going to do a little video today on some acrylic paintings that I have from an Australian artist. There's two of them in my collection which I really like to look at. They hang up in the entrance hall and I pass them many times a day, so it's nice to see them as I go past. The artist is Joseph Greenberg. He was born in 1923 and he comes from Richmond in Australia. That's a little suburb just outside of Melbourne. He was a graphic artist, a writer, a cartoonist, a painter, a collector, a lecturer, raconteur and student of all forms of artistic expression. He was a leading Australian graphic artist and his career spanned 5 decades. He enrolled in the Swinburne School of Art in 1940 to 41 and studied commercial art at the age of 16. Because there wasn't much in the way of commercial artist examples in Australia, Joe Greenberg used to send away for foreign magazines, mostly from America, and he got all the examples of commercial art from there to make his commercial art works much better. He worked for the Herald and Weekly Times book department, creating promotional designs, and in 1949 he drew a political cartoon for the left-wing Guardian newspaper. He did that for a year. He did lots of cartoons. In 1949, the Dunlop Rubber Company of Australia began an art competition, and this was to make a worthwhile contribution to the development of Australian painting. And Greenberg exhibited in this competition in the 1950s. After the excitement of the 1956 Olympics had passed, Greenberg left Australia to work in New York, London and Norway, and he did this from 1957 to 1970 as a creative director in advertising agencies. It was written in Australia that Greenberg, his name needed to be added to the list of designers who helped define the look of Australia and expressed its values through its lively illustration and innovative layouts. So his graphic designs were used by the Commonwealth government of the day, and they were used to promote people coming to Australia. And so his paintings were showing what Australia looked like and was inviting people to come and migrate to the country. Greenberg produced many sporting paintings, not just tennis ones. He did also Australian football, cricket and skiing ones. And these two paintings that I have were produced in the mid-1970s. They're both tennis ones. He also did caricatures of famous people of the day, which also included tennis players. So he did Ken Rosewall, Ivan Lendl, Tony Roach, Liz Smiley and Paul McNamee. And most of the paintings that he did and watercolours were sold in 1988 at an auction, and they realised some quite really good prices. So the paintings sold for between $1,500 and $2,600 each, and the caricatures or the watercolours sold between $250 and $300 each. So it's really good prices for his work at that time in the mid-70s. So the two paintings I have in my collection by Greenberg are of Helen Wills Moody and also of Chris Evert. And as per that auction in 1988, there were paintings of Roy Emerson, Ken Rosewall, Rod Laver, John Newcomb, Ken McGregor, Frank Sedgman, Bjorn Borg, Margaret Court and Billie Jean King. So you can see there were quite a few paintings of tennis players created by him in the 70s. So Having said all that, let's get on to the first one. And the first one I'm going to show you is the one of Helen Wills Moody. So Helen Wills Moody was born in America in 1905, and she lived to be 93 years old. She won 31 Grand Slam tournament titles in singles, doubles and mixed during her career, and including 19 singles titles. And she was part of a new tennis fashion of the day. She was playing in knee-length pleated skirts, and was known for wearing her hallmark white visor, and that became a popular tennis attire of the day. So in the painting here you can see Helen Wills Moody on court making a low backhand shot, painted in the late 70s in 1975 and marked on the back Helen Wills Moody, memorable rival of Suzanne Lenglen in the 1920s. So as you'll remember, I've mentioned Suzanne many times in my videos. Suzanne is the French player, and this painting is acrylic on board. It's about 60 centimeters by 45, and this one is the one that's in a gold colored frame. So let's look at the next one, which is Chris Evert, or Chris Evert Lloyd, and she is an American player, and she was born in 1954. She won 157 singles titles, including 18 majors, which among them was a record 7 French Open titles and a joint record of 6 US Open titles. So she dominated the women's tennis from the 1970s to the mid-1980s. She served as president of the Women's Tennis Association for 11 years and was awarded the Philippe Chatrier Award and inducted into the Hall of Fame in later life. She was a coach and is now an analyst for ESPN. You'll have seen her commentating at Wimbledon and such likes. And when you look at the painting here, the painting shows Chris on court making a low double-handed shot. Again, this is painted in the late 70s, around 75, and marked on the back of this one it says Chris Evert, Australian Wimbledon champion. So this is also an acrylic on board, and it's the same size, 60 by 45, and this particular one is in a silver frame, but it's the same frame, so I imagine all his paintings were put into that sort of frame setup. So both these paintings show exaggerated strokes in the work, and the colours are truly amazing. There are so many colours in these paintings, it's just insane. And so I've done a little video just to give you an idea of how thick the paint must be, and how the strokes are put together. And it's when I have them hanging in the hallway, which I do, the light hits them at different times of day, and so the colours change throughout the day, and they're a joy to pass just as I walk past them in the hallway. They're really nice paintings to have in the collection. that is it for today. Just a very short video, I think. But two lovely paintings by a very famous Australian artist. I managed to get hold of them, as I said, in two different areas, one from an auction house and one from an antique market. And paintings, as you know, do increase in value as the years go past. So I've had these for quite some years now. And depending when they were sold at auction in 1988, of course, they realized some real good prices. So I'm hoping that they're a good investment. Well, thank you for watching again. I'll have a look at my collection, see what I'll do for my next video. And until then, keep well, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.